All right, I have some notes today because there's 10 things that I need to go through about this thing. First of all, I'm going to ask, who here has heard about high performance CPR? No, high performance CPR as a term, not just CPR, but high performance. Has to do with the Lucas, maybe. That's how they're trying to sell it. So I'm okay. This is good because when I heard this thing, and then I did some research online. This has been going on for 5 years. They're talking about high performance CPR, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm a little behind on this. 5 years later, learning about high performance CPR, but I guess I'm not the only one. I even asked the other doctor; he didn't know what it was either. So there are 10 elements to high performance CPR, and the point is, the better you perform the CPR, the better chance of survival, and not just survival. The code went well, but survival to discharge, good neurological outcome, and so on. So there are 10 elements or 10 things we need to know about high performance CPR. Number one, the EMT, the paramedics, the pre-hospital setting has to own high performance CPR. So they need to know about it, they need to do it, and us, we're catching them later, 20, 30 minutes after it's been done. If it wasn't done initially, it's probably not going to benefit even if we start doing it then. Number two, it's all about minimizing interruptions in CPR. It means compression is compression, but minimizing interruptions, even to the point that starting IVs, starting even an airway, should not interrupt the CPR. So you're saying, wait, no airway? Yes. So they're saying that for the first 5 minutes, there's no need to put an airway. You put a non-rebreather and you do CPR. You do CPR, you do the compressions, and you don't. And if you need a line, you don't stop compressions to put a line. You put an IO or something that won't interrupt CPR. Ensuring proper depth of compression, that's element number 3. So you have to make sure it's deep enough, and related to that, so at least 2 inches every time you compress, you have to make sure you're getting blood flow. And then the next 2 are related to the compression, which has to do with full recoil, letting the thorax re-expand after the compression before compressing again. Recoil time during CPR is what actually gives you cerebral perfusion pressure, is what actually gives you coronary perfusion. So lacking a good recoil will not give enough blood flow, so you're not really doing anything. So almost if you're doing too fast or not letting it come back all the way up, so it's important you let it recoil all the way. And proper compression rate. And of course, we know the staying alive, so it's 100 beats per minute. So 100 beats per minute will wear you out pretty quick. So one of the other elements of this is, the next one is rotate compressors, the person doing the compressions, every 2 minutes. They say that after 2 minutes, even the best compressor is going to get tired, it's not going to go as deep, it's not going to go as fast, and the CPR quality is going to decay quite rapidly. That's why the Lucas that you mentioned plays a role in this high performance CPR, because it's a machine, it doesn't get tired, it keeps doing it, you can concentrate on the other stuff while letting the machine do the compressions and keep working on it. So this is why that step 6, the Lucas, is almost synonymous with high performance CPR. 7, keep the hands hovering over the patient. You know how they say, okay, rhythm check, or let's stop, and then go like this? No, you're like on top of the patient, you just hover over it a couple inches above the chest, and you're ready to get back on it because you minimize the interruption of the CPR. If you need to intubate, you should never stop compressions for intubation. That's a hard one because you get the doctor, wait, I'm going to intubate. And I've done that. I've done that many times. I'm really quick. I can get it in. If you're doing compression, it might take me longer. They're saying if it's better take a little bit longer because you always get that recoil effect of pulling air in by having a 100% oxygen blown over the face, and the compressions gives enough diffusion of oxygenation to the chest and lungs that the intubation is actually not necessary, unless it's a true respiratory arrest, which in case the breathing goes first before compressions and everything else. 9, place IVs and IOs while the CPR is going on. So IOs are easy, you just hold the leg tight and you're done. So if it's a difficult line, if it's a central line, there's no role for central lines during active CPR. So if the doctor, I need to put a central line, no you don't. You can put an IO. Once the patient has ROSC, return to spontaneous circulation, then you can put your central line in, but not while CPR is going on. If you are going to do a rhythm check, it has to be a really good doctor that as soon as they stop compressions, the rhythm checks takes 3 seconds and compressions are restarted. You don't wait, let it go a little longer, because that's not good. So you do it really quick. And if you're gonna decide to shock, you charge first. So charge, resume CPR. So you're doing CPR while the machine is charging, because that's 6, 8, 7 seconds, and you're missing the opportunity to be doing effective compression during times. So pre-charge your defibrillator, and if it goes, then you discharge, and you don't waste a lot of time. And as soon as it's discharged, the guy's hovering over it, he's ready to start again, And to 10th is the coordination of teamwork. Obviously, that everybody knows about high performance CPR, that everybody's willing to do this. Everybody understands the number one priority of CPR is the C. It used to be ABCs, right? Airway, breathing, circulation. And now the C is first. CPR, circulation first. So compressions are most important, 100 beats per minute, 2 inches depth. Change compressors every 2 minutes unless you have a Lucas machine, in which case you just let it go and keep doing what it's doing. And that's why it's so important the paramedics need to be starting this, because we get them 20 minutes later. If it hasn't been done, do you really get much benefit at that point? While I was reading this article, some hospitals have an actual real-time feedback device that gives them feedback on the depth of the compression, on the effectiveness of the compression, and also the role of CO2 monitoring in terms of telling you how good a compression you're doing. And that would be awesome if we had, and we don't have the CO2 detectors for live CO2 monitoring. But they're saying how when a medical student takes over, you can see the CO2 drop, and you know they're not doing good compression, so you either coach them, make them better, or change compressors and bring another person in. So that's all interesting stuff. I think it's wonderful. And obviously the main thing for us is, I guess, the aggressiveness of the compression and trying to minimize stuff. Because I must admit, on my codes, I stop for, let's do an ultrasound check, and I'm there for 30 seconds trying to see if there's, okay, resume. I just wasted 30 seconds. I didn't contribute to that patient very much. So anything you do has to take 5 seconds or less between stopping compressions and then resume again. So that's it.